G'day everyone and welcome back to Matty's workshop and part 2 of the indexing fixture for the shaper build. This is a piece of shaft that I'm going to use for the indexing fixture anyway. It's a piece I salvaged out of an old lawnmower years ago, and it had a couple of sprockets on it. I ended up having to just cut the shaft off in, it was another probably 8 inches longer, but I just could not get the sprockets off it. So this is plenty long enough. I'm going to machine this down to 750 thou. This piece of stuff here I got off a hydraulic cylinder ram. It's 4 inches in diameter. So, and the chuck I ordered for the indexer was a 4-inch 4-jaw chuck. So what my plan is, I'm going to machine this, make it a little bit thinner. What my plan is, I'm going to leave a little shoulder a bit larger and then bore this out, sit it in there, and then weld the other side of it, if you get what I mean. And then I can just drill the 3 holes to hold the 4-jaw chuck on. And on this end here, I'll have a thread that the like you've got a bearing here, say you have a bearing there, then you'll have the little clamping system to stop it, then you'll have an indexing plate, then the nut will just, it'll put the preload on the bearing and everything all at once. So that's my plan. Hoping it all works. So I'm going to get machining and I'll turn this down. I'm not going to bore you with that because this is just straight turning. It's just, it's not that exciting. So I'll get this down and I'll bring us back when I get to a little bit more exciting stuff, guys. Not overly happy with that finish, I can tell you. Yeah, that's what I got. See what we got here. Pump the bastards. $7.51. $7.51. I might get a bit of wet and dry and I might just polish that last thou out, so I'm not going to bore you with that. So I'll bring this back when I have that done. So I've run over it with some Scotch Brite and I couldn't find any bloody wet and dry. I had a bit of real fine sandpaper, which I'm not overly happy with the finish, but it's going to have to do. It's about 749.5 thou this end, and neat 750 this end. So it will work. So I think it'll be okay. So now I've got to cut this off I've got to put a thread on it on this end for a nut, so it'll lock everything up. On this end here, it'll be where that the chuck will be, so that'll pull up on the bearing. This one, then you have the clamp, indexing plate, and the nut to lock it all up. So I think we're on a win, guys, so far. I'm going to put a relief in here for the thread. I've decided to go for a 3/4 the 16 TPI National Fine. So I'm going to put a relief in here of about 40 thou deep. So this is a parting tool I've never had a lot of luck with. So just got to take it extremely carefully. Check. Looks good to me. This thread turned out really nice. Very happy with it. Relatively fine thread, so yeah. next to no wriggle room in there. So very happy with that, very pleased. I just put a chamfer on this edge here and the end of the shaft. Yeah, we'll take it from there. Another successful thread. This is the what I'm going to call the backing plate. I've just run a quick skim across the front. I'm going to do one on the way out, like a cut on the back out towards the outside now. I'm in two minds whether to leave it this thickness. Might just knock it down, but I don't know yet. I'm just going to suck it and see how I go. So I'm not 100% sure how thick I really want that piece yet. So anyway. So what I was just making is a part of a locking mechanism that I think may work. So on the back side of the indexer, got that over there, and I'll just get the other piece. This piece here, I'm going to bore out, split it so it'll fit over top of this piece, and then I'll have to attach it down on the bottom here somewhere. What my plan is I've got to preload these bearings, so that's why I've put that shoulder in there, so the actual brake will only be as wide as this here. Like it's only, that's all it's going to hold on, like pull up on. So if you can sort of get what I mean there. It's a bit hard to explain, but I'll put a couple of set screws in here, so once the preload's up on the bearings, and I'll do these set screws up, then I'll slide the brake over top, actual locking part, and bolt it down here to this bottom part of the body. That's if you can get what I mean. It's a bit hard to explain. I think it'll work, so it's probably best I just make it and show you. 3/4. This is why I like my old lathe, simply because it's got the length in the bed. This is the biggest drill I own. It's 1.564". Yeah. It's a Morse taper 2 tailstock, so I've got a Morse taper 2 to a Morse taper 3 in the drill and into the chuck. So, and I've still got, another probably 10 inches of bed left. So that's the difference between the new lathe and the old lathe. A lot more bedroom, and this will go a lot slower too. So yeah, just thought I'd show you why I like this old girl. Bit more than I like the new one in a way. So I'll set this back up in the mount and we'll get drilling this hole. Okay, I didn't realise, but the drill was as blood as buggery. So I've given it a sharpen up. We'll have another go. Just a bit of vibration in it, but right. There's a lot of stick out on the tail stops. I'd expect a little bit of movement. Love getting the big drills out every now and again. It's good fun when that happens. Pretty sure it's only mild steelers too, so it's gummy. But it's what surprised me, the old lathe still does it. A bit temperamental, but it still does it. Rightio, over the past few days I've had my dad up for a few days and the kids are still home on holidays, and I've just been doing bits and pieces when I can. I really haven't had the opportunity to film it, so I do apologise. I'm sorry about that. But this is where I'm up to. My chuck's turned up, nice little 4-jaw chuck, a little 4-inch one. It doesn't seem too bad for the price I paid. I paid $69 Australian, and it's pretty bloody cheap, and it'll do. It's not spinning and it's not actually getting spun on the chuck or anything. But I dare say it'd be good enough. Yeah, it'd be good for what I need. Now, what I've got up to now, the lock, I ended up making that little sleeve. That one here. I made it, as you can see here, it's just 2 bolts, 2 cap head screws. That's going to get welded to there, to the bottom of this. I've still got to make the lugs up and split it, and I may have to take a little bit out of this edge here so it will close up a bit easier, because it is fairly thick. I've got the backing plate welded on and lathed off with a register in it, a nice fit register, which you'll sort of give it a tap with your hand just to make it lock right in. Also, I've made up some tiny little transfer jiggers, that's what you want to call them. They'll just simply screw in, and it's got enough just to touch the register, and then these little tits, you'd call them, they're nice and sharp, and they'll mark onto the backing plate. I decided to weld it onto the backing plate to the spindle first, so it does stay rigid and concentric with the shaft. It's just going to be a bit of a stuff round to try and drill them in the drill press, being a long shaft, or just a little bit of fiddling around there. But I think I can drop that down the centre hole of the table on the drill press, which will just, it's going to be a bit of fiddly stuff. The kids are still home on holidays from the school. It's going to be probably bits and pieces of videoing for the next couple of days on this. Hopefully I'll get some, I'll be able to do a bit of videoing without getting too interrupted. So also, my dad bring up a piece of fairly heavy angle iron for me, which I've put in the shaper, and Dad wanted to see the shaper working, so I machined that square in the shaper. So the old man was pretty impressed with the shaper. Yeah, it's a bloody top machine. So thank you very much for that, Dad. I know you'll be watching this somewhere along the way, so I do appreciate that. Much, awesome stuff, thank you. Also, while Dad was up here, Dad and I knocked up a little stock crate for his trailer so he can cart his couple of sheep around. So that took up a few days. It's always fun to be building something with your dad. I still really enjoy doing that stuff. It's great fun. So he's going to have happy sheep now. Anyway, I'm going to mark these holes in the backing plate here. I'll get over and drill them, and then once these are drilled and I know where the screws are on the back, where the bolts are on the back, I'll be able to work out whether I have enough room to use a locking pin mechanism to be able to use this backing plate as an index to do me hex and squares. This already has preload on this bearing. All I've done is lock this out with a couple of bits of stuff, do the nut up tight, which preloads the bearing, and then just lock these set screws down, and then that holds the preload on the bearing, which works out pretty bloody good. So then I can undo this nut, I can make up another plate on the back to do 8 sides or whatever I want to do. That all worked out really well. I'm really excited. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Turned out better than what I thought. So I'm going to mark these, get over and try and drill them, and then we're another step closer to being able to bolt her up and use it. Put a bit of barbecue sauce on that. Down in the hole, mate. Yeah, that's plenty. As long as it's in the hole. Good thing that those got holidays for back to kids on the way to have to do. A little bit more pressure though. So it's really come up. A little bit more pressure. Righto, we're set up to do the little countersink to put the cap head screws down into. I've done two. Perfect. You're noisy old drilling it. It should be spot on.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, it's all getting put on now. Young fella's just bolting it all up. He's done a bloody good job of drilling them holes. And it fitted up beautifully now. So hopefully this will be the last time it has to come on and off. Or one of the last times. It's become the fixture now. I will put it in the chuck and then I'll quickly run the indicator over to see how good we got it to this. How far out these holes are in the back of the chuck itself. See if they are. See if it is going to run concentric or not. Just turn your Allen key around the other way, mate, and nip them down tight. That's it. Okay, we've just bolted it all up. I've stuck an indicator on it, and I'll get the young fella to turn it and show you how much run out it's got. Righto, mate. So right there, we peak right there at 2,000 of run out. I could undo the bolts and tap that out, but it's a 4-jaw chuck, so there's no need to. I don't think that's too bad considering we just bolted it up. So the young fella done a good job at bloody drilling them holes. He got them spot on. So well done, big fella.
Thank you.
Okay, for this locking mechanism, I've quickly just tacked out a piece of block that I'm going to weld around the sides and across the end, and then I'll split it and round the corners off and everything after I've welded it and ground it all up. Once I split it, I can drill it. I'll drill it first, tap the bottom, and then oversize the top hole, and that should be strong enough to pull these together. I may have to take a little bit out of this edge just so it gives a bit more flex, and then the bottom here will actually get welded to the little frame here, if you can see it there. Sorry about my hands being in the way, but yeah, I think you get what I'm up to. So I'll go over there and I'll weld this up and bring us back when I'm further advanced. Righto, it's been one of them afternoons. As you can see, I got it on. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I welded that block on the edge, and then I thought, well, I'll put it in the shaper and then just smooth it all off, so it's all nice and uniform. Well, idiot me snugged the vise up a bit tight and put it out around. So then I had to try and chuck it in the lathe and then redo the bore, line the bore up as best I could, and redo the bore. And by that stage I put the camera to the side and was getting pretty cranky with it, because everything, yeah, like I say, everything went wrong. I got it done in the end. got it all welded on. As you can see, it's a bit, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's all welded on, it's bolted into place, and it works. So it's getting quite a heavy little unit now. It works better than what I thought. So like if you just pull it down a little bit, you don't have to pull it down a hell of a lot, and you can't turn it. It locks dead solid, which is what I wanted. So now it'll turn. So it is working very, very well. I did think I was going to have a bit of an issue on this side here, and not being able to flex enough, but I think with the bolt being out so far, it's getting plenty of leverage, and it's, yeah, it's just squashing down on the top here, I think, and then yeah, it's clamping it up tight. So man, oh man, that was a little mission, that piece. That nearly drove me to the bend. But in the end it all worked out okay. It's not a neat job by any stretch, but I'm a bit disappointed that side of it, but it does work and it's functional. So really all there is left to do now is I'm in two minds whether to make a separate plate up and have the pin locking back this way, or making the simple hex and the square on the top here with a simple drop down pin. I don't know what I'm going to do there at the moment. I'm a bit, just don't know, I'm not quite sure actually, to be honest with you. I'm a bit sort of lost. So if you get any ideas, please let me know. I'm probably not going to get back to this for a couple of days now. It's school holidays here at the moment, and yeah, it's time to do some stuff with the kids. So yeah, this sort of gets put back on the edge of the shelf and left to ponder. So it's getting bloody heavy at the moment, I tell you. It's a lot heavier than what I thought it was ever going to be. It's a fair bit of weight into it. I'm really happy with it so far, to be honest with you. I've never made anything like this before, and it's actually coming along pretty good. So this will probably be the end of this part, and by the time I edit the video, it probably won't be all that long, but the next part will be making the index side of it. So please leave a comment and let me know what you think on the best way to go about that and what your guys' thoughts are on it, because I'm a little bit bamboozled at the moment. I'm in two minds whether to just make the simple one on here, because I haven't really got enough room, and I'm guarantee if I do a hex on here, it'll probably clash with the hole. The squares, it might be alright, because I can use the 4 bolt holes to index the square. So, you know, that is, and then bolt holes are pretty spot on. But I'd like a set. Don't really want to go down that path. I'd like to have just somewhere separate, very, yeah, separate index itself. Not worry about these holes. Anyway, thank you for coming along on this journey, and please let me know what your thoughts are. Alright guys, thank you. See you on the next part.